On a chilly morning in downtown Austin, Texas, the city buzzed with its usual rhythm. Amid the hustle of life, an old woman named Martha sat on a bench outside a cafe, clutching a threadbare blanket to shield herself from the biting cold. Martha had been living on the streets for years, reduced to invisibility in a world that often looked the other way. Once she had a family, a home and dreams, but circumstances had stripped all of that away. Her only companions were her memories and the stars she watched every night, whispering her hopes into the endless sky. It was her escape, a dream that one day someone would notice her and give her a chance to feel human again. This morning was no different. Customers walked past her, their eyes avoiding hers, as though acknowledging her existence would disrupt their day. But something extraordinary was about to happen. A sleek Tesla pulled up to the curb, and out stepped a man dressed simply but unmistakably familiar. Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur behind SpaceX, Tesla, and countless groundbreaking innovations, had arrived at the cafe for a meeting. His presence caused a stir, with onlookers craning their necks for a glimpse of the billionaire. Martha didn't recognize him at first. To her, he was just another man in the crowd. But Elon's sharp eyes caught sight of her. Something about her frail figure, the tired lines on her face, and the quiet dignity in her posture tugged at his heart. Instead of heading straight into the cafe, he walked toward Martha, kneeling slightly to meet her gaze. "Good morning," he said gently, his voice cutting through the noise around them. "What's your name?" Martha looked up, startled that someone was speaking to her, let alone a stranger who didn't immediately dismiss her. "Martha," she replied softly. Elon smiled. "Martha, have you had anything to eat today?" She shook her head. "No, sir, not yet." Without hesitation, Elon turned to an assistant who had been trailing behind him. "Get her whatever she wants from the cafe, and bring a blanket." The assistant quickly complied, while Elon sat next to Martha, ignoring the curious stares and murmurs from passers-by. They spoke for a while, their conversation ranging from her struggles to her love of the stars. "I used to watch the sky with my grandson," Martha shared, her voice tinged with nostalgia. "We'd sit on the porch and make up stories about the stars. I always told him that one day someone would touch the stars and bring their light to Earth." Elon's face lit up. "You know, Martha, that's what I've spent my life trying to do, to bring the stars closer to everyone." Her eyes widened as she began to piece together who he was. "Wait, you're that SpaceX guy, aren't you?" He chuckled. "Guilty as charged." For the first time in a long while, Martha laughed, a soft, genuine laugh that melted the ice around her heart. By the end of their conversation, Elon had done more than provide a meal. He arranged for Martha to have a place to stay at a nearby shelter, covering her expenses for the next 6 months. He handed her a card with his assistant's number and said, "If you ever need anything, call this number. We'll help." Martha was overwhelmed with gratitude. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Thank you. I don't know what I did to deserve this kindness." Elon smiled warmly. "You deserve it because you're human, Martha. Everyone deserves a chance." Over the next few months, Martha's life began to change. With the stability of shelter and meals, she started to regain her strength. At the shelter, she discovered a love for storytelling, captivating others with tales from her past. One day, she decided to write a letter to Elon, thanking him for his kindness and sharing how much it had transformed her life. What she didn't know was that this letter would set off a chain of events that no one could have anticipated. Elon received the letter during a particularly stressful day. Reading Martha's heartfelt words reminded him of why he had started his journey in the first place. to make a difference. Inspired, he decided to visit Martha again. When he arrived at the shelter, he found her surrounded by a group of people, sharing one of her stories. She seemed happier, more alive, and her confidence was radiant. Elon approached her with a smile, and when she saw him, her face lit up like the stars she loved so much. "Mr. Musk," she exclaimed. "Just Elon," he corrected, laughing. "How have you been, Martha?" They spent hours catching up, and by the end of the visit, Elon had an idea. He invited Martha to an upcoming SpaceX event where he would be unveiling a new project. She was hesitant at first, feeling out of place among the high-profile crowd, but Elon reassured her. "You belong there, Martha. Trust me." On the day of the event, Martha arrived in a modest dress provided by the shelter. She was nervous, but as soon as she saw Elon, her fears subsided. During the event, Elon surprised everyone by bringing Martha on stage. He introduced her as someone who had inspired him to stay grounded, to remember that technology and innovation should always serve humanity. "This is Martha," he said, his voice filled with respect. "She reminded me that behind every number, every statistic, there's a story, and stories are what make us human." The audience erupted into applause, and Martha, though overwhelmed, felt a sense of pride she hadn't felt in years. After the event, Elon offered her a unique opportunity to work with SpaceX as a storyteller, sharing her experiences and connecting with communities to inspire them. Martha accepted, and her life transformed in ways she could never have imagined. She traveled the country, speaking to groups about resilience, kindness, and the power of dreams. Her story, intertwined with Elon's gesture of compassion, became a beacon of hope for countless others. Months later, during a quiet evening under the stars, Martha sat with Elon at a SpaceX launch site. They watched as a rocket soared into the sky, its brilliance lighting up the darkness. "Look at that, Martha," Elon said softly. "The stars are closer than ever." Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Thank you for bringing me back to life, Elon. You didn't just give me hope. You gave me a purpose." Elon smiled, his gaze fixed on the heavens. "You taught me something too, that no matter how far we reach, it's the connections we make here on Earth that truly matter." Martha's story became a symbol of how one act of kindness could ripple outward, touching lives in ways no one could predict. It was a reminder that no matter how high we climb, the real measure of success is how we lift others along the way. And as Martha looked up at the stars that night, she knew she wasn't just watching them, she was reaching for them too. As the rocket disappeared into the vast expanse of the night sky, Martha reflected on how much her life had changed in such a short time. She couldn't help but marvel at how a chance encounter had taken her from the streets to a position where she was not only living a dignified life, but also inspiring countless others. Her partnership with Elon had become something more profound than she had ever imagined. He had given her a voice, a platform to share her story, and an opportunity to impact others who had been overlooked and marginalized by society. Every speech she delivered, every person she met, reminded her that the stars weren't just for those with wealth or privilege. They were for everyone willing to dream. One day, Elon approached her with an even bigger idea. "Martha," he began, sitting across from her in a quiet conference room at SpaceX headquarters. "I've been thinking. Your story is powerful. It's about more than survival. It's about hope, resilience, and the transformative power of kindness. What if we documented your journey? A book, maybe even a documentary. Something that will last forever." Martha's eyes widened. "A book? About me? Elon, who would want to read that?" Elon chuckled. You'd be surprised. People need to hear your story. They need to know that change is possible, that their circumstances don't define their worth, and who better to tell them than you? It took some convincing, but eventually Martha agreed. Over the next few months, a team of writers, filmmakers, and community leaders worked with her to create a compelling narrative. The project, titled From the Streets to the Stars, The Martha Story, captured the essence of her journey. It included heartfelt interviews, moments from her past, and her newfound role as an ambassador of hope. When the book launched, it became an instant bestseller. People from all walks of life resonated with her story, and the documentary that followed brought her message to an even wider audience. Martha found herself speaking on stages she never dreamed of standing on, alongside global leaders and change-makers. Her relationship with Elon grew stronger too. Though he was a busy man, he often took time to check in with her, attending her speeches when he could or simply sharing quiet moments of reflection. Their unlikely friendship became a testament to the idea that empathy could bridge any divide, whether it was age, race, or status. One particularly memorable day, Elon invited Martha to join him on a tour of a SpaceX facility. As they walked through the bustling hub of innovation, engineers and scientists greeted her warmly, many of them inspired by the woman whose story had touched their lives. "Look at this," Martha said, marveling at the intricate machinery and towering rockets. "I used to watch the stars and dream. Now, I'm walking among the people who bring those dreams to life." Elon smiled. "You've always been part of this, Martha. You remind us why we do what we do. It's not just about technology. It's about giving people hope and something to believe in." The turning point came when Elon revealed his most ambitious idea yet. He wanted to dedicate a project to Martha's legacy. "I'm naming the next Mars rover after you," he announced during a private dinner. Martha gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. "Elon, you can't be serious." "I'm completely serious," he said with a grin. "It's going to be called Martha's Light, because that's what you've been to so many people. A light in the darkness." The news quickly went public, sparking a wave of excitement and admiration. The world watched as Martha's Light was constructed, a testament to the power of kindness and resilience. When the day of the launch arrived, Martha stood alongside Elon at the viewing platform, her heart racing as the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The sound of the rocket engines roared to life, and as Martha's light soared into the sky, tears streamed down her face. "Thank you," she whispered to Elon, "for believing in me, for giving me this chance." Elon placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've given us all something even greater, Martha. You've reminded us that no matter how far we go, it's the human connections we make that truly matter." Martha continued to inspire, her story reaching every corner of the globe. She became a symbol of hope, proving that a single act of kindness could create ripples of change that extended far beyond what anyone could imagine. And as she sat under the stars one evening, reflecting on her extraordinary journey, she knew one thing for certain. The universe might be vast and endless, but the most profound impact was made right here on Earth, one life at a time. Martha's story didn't just end with her becoming a beacon of hope. It kept evolving, touching more lives than she could have ever imagined. After the success of Martha's Light on Mars, a ripple effect of compassion and inclusivity began to spread across various industries. People from all walks of life, inspired by her journey, began questioning their own biases and actions. One such person was a young entrepreneur named Sarah, who had been struggling with her company's vision. After hearing Martha's speeches and watching her documentary, Sarah reached out to Martha for guidance. "Miss Martha," Sarah began during their first meeting, "your story changed the way I view success. I used to think it was all about money and growth, but now I realize it's about impact. How do I make my company more like what you stand for?" Martha smiled, her wisdom radiating. "Start by seeing people, Sarah, truly seeing them. Understand their stories, their struggles, and their dreams. When you build a company around compassion, success will follow." Under Martha's mentorship, Sarah transformed her company into a community-driven organization, one that prioritized not just profits, but also the well-being of its employees and the environment. Meanwhile, Martha's personal life began to flourish in ways she hadn't expected. Her connection with Elon brought her into a circle of influential thinkers and innovators who valued her insights and resilience. She often found herself at think tanks and summits, where her humble yet profound perspective became a guiding voice. One day, during a United Nations conference on poverty and homelessness, Martha took the stage to deliver a speech that left the room in tears. "I was once invisible," she began, her voice steady but emotional. "Society didn't see me because it didn't want to. But one man did, and that changed everything. Imagine a world where we all saw each other, not as labels or stereotypes, but as humans deserving of dignity. That's the world I dream of, and it's the world we can build together." Her speech went viral, sparking global conversations about addressing systemic inequality and fostering empathy. Back in Austin, Martha made it her mission to give back to the homeless community. She partnered with local organizations to create shelters that weren't just places to sleep, but hubs for rehabilitation and opportunity. These shelters offered skill-building workshops, mental health support, and pathways to stable employment. Martha became a frequent visitor, sitting with residents, listening to their stories and sharing her own. To them, she wasn't just a public figure. She was a friend who understood their struggles firsthand. One evening, a young woman named Denise approached her. "Ms. Martha," Denise said hesitantly, "I don't know if you remember me, but you used to share this bench with me years ago." Martha's eyes widened in recognition. "Denise! Of course I remember you. How have you been?" Denise smiled, her eyes glistening. "Better, thanks to you. Watching you rise from where we were gave me the courage to try again. I've got a job now, and I'm saving up for my own place." Martha hugged her tightly, overwhelmed by the impact her journey had made. Martha's legacy was cemented when a foundation was established in her name, the Martha Initiative for Hope and Humanity. Its mission was simple yet profound: to create a world where no one felt invisible. The foundation funded programs for homelessness, education, and space exploration outreach, ensuring that her story would continue inspiring generations to come. Elon, who had become one of the foundation's biggest supporters, often spoke about Martha during his public appearances. "Martha didn't just touch the stars," he once said during a keynote speech. "She taught us that the real stars are the people we choose to lift up along the way." Martha lived to see a world where her dream of human connection became a global movement. On her 90th birthday, surrounded by friends, family, and admirers, she sat under the stars, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. A young child approached her, clutching a copy of her book. "Ms. Martha, I want to be like you when I grow up." She smiled, her eyes twinkling like the night sky. "You already are, child. You already are." And as the stars shone brightly above, Martha knew her story wasn't just hers anymore. It belonged to everyone who believed in the power of kindness, resilience, and the infinite potential of the human spirit. As the night deepened, Martha found herself reminiscing, each memory a testament to the extraordinary journey she had walked. Every challenge she faced, every moment of despair, and every act of kindness she received, became threads in a tapestry that wove a life filled with meaning and purpose. Martha became a symbol of what humanity could achieve when it chose compassion over judgment. Schools began teaching her story as part of their curriculum, inspiring young minds to value empathy and courage. Colleges invited her as a keynote speaker for graduations, her words igniting a fire in students to pursue not just their ambitions, but also a better world for all. One of her proudest moments came when a new community center was opened in her name, in the heart of Austin. The Martha Lewis Center for Renewal was a state-of-the-art facility offering education, job training, and mental health services for the homeless and underprivileged. On the opening day, she cut the ribbon, tears streaming down her face as she saw families, children, and individuals entering a space designed to uplift and empower. "This is more than a building," she said during the ceremony. "This is a promise that no one will ever be left unseen or unheard again." Elon Musk, ever her steadfast supporter and friend, continued to champion her vision. Together, they co-founded a program called Reach In for the Stars, combining their passions for social upliftment and space exploration. The program aimed to inspire underprivileged youth to dream big, providing scholarships and mentorships in STEM fields. During one of their visits to a school participating in the program, a young boy raised his hand and asked, "Ms. Martha, do you think someone like me could go to space one day?" Martha knelt beside him, her gaze steady and warm. "Not only can you go to space, my dear, but you can change the way we understand it. Never let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. Your dreams are as limitless as the universe." Her words were met with thunderous applause, but for Martha, the true reward was the spark of hope she saw in the boy's eyes. As her legacy grew, so did the gratitude of those whose lives she had touched. Letters poured in from across the globe, stories of people who found strength in her journey, who chose kindness over cruelty, and who dared to dream because she had shown them it was possible. One day, while sifting through the letters, she came across one that made her pause. It was from a man named Robert, the very first person who had mocked her on the streets when she was homeless. "Dear Martha," the letter began, "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know how deeply sorry I am for the way I treated you. Watching your rise has been humbling, and it has made me confront my own prejudices. Because of you, I've started volunteering at a shelter, and I've learned the value of seeing people for who they truly are. Thank you for changing my life, even when I didn't deserve it." Martha held the letter close to her heart, her tears a mix of sorrow and gratitude. It was a reminder that change was always possible, even for those who seemed beyond redemption. Her final days were spent surrounded by love. Friends, family, and strangers who had become her extended family gathered to celebrate her life. Despite her age, Martha's spirit remained vibrant, her laughter infectious. One evening, as she sat with Elon on the porch of her modest yet cozy home, they gazed at the night sky together. "You know, Elon," she said, her voice soft but resolute, "I used to think the stars were out of reach, but now I realize they were never far away. They were always within us, waiting to shine." Elon smiled, his eyes misty. "You've shown us all how to shine, Martha. You'll always be our guiding light." When Martha passed away peacefully in her sleep at the age of 95, the world mourned the loss of a legend, but celebrated the indelible mark she had left behind. Tributes poured in from every corner of the globe, from presidents to schoolchildren, all honoring the woman who had risen from the streets to touch the stars. Her funeral was attended by thousands, a testament to the lives she had changed. As per her wishes, it was a joyous occasion, filled with music, laughter, and stories of hope. In the days that followed, a new star was discovered in the night sky. Astronomers named it Martha's Light, and it became a symbol of her enduring legacy. Generations later, children still learned about Martha in classrooms, her name synonymous with resilience and compassion. Her story became a cornerstone of humanity's collective memory, a reminder that even in the darkest times, a single spark of kindness could illuminate the world. Martha's life was proof that no dream was too big, no act of kindness too small, and no star too distant. She may have started her journey on the streets, but she ended it among the stars, her legacy shining brighter with each passing day. Martha's legacy continued to grow, not just as a historical figure, but as an eternal source of inspiration. The Martha Lewis Center for Renewal expanded its reach internationally, establishing branches in countries where homelessness and inequality remained pressing issues. These centers became sanctuaries for hope, offering not only material assistance but also emotional support, education, and empowerment. Martha's story became a cultural cornerstone, immortalized in books, documentaries, and even films. A biopic about her life, titled From Shadows to Stars, won multiple awards and became a global phenomenon. The film captured the raw essence of her struggles, the pivotal moment of meeting Elon Musk, and the incredible transformation that followed. Audiences left theaters inspired, many vowing to make a difference in their own communities. One of the most touching tributes came from the homeless community itself. On the anniversary of her passing, a group of formerly homeless individuals who had been helped by Martha's programs organized a global day of kindness. They called it Martha's Day, a day dedicated to performing acts of compassion and generosity no matter how small. In the scientific community, her name became synonymous with perseverance. The Martha Initiative for Hope and Humanity funded groundbreaking research in renewable energy and space travel, ensuring that the dream of a better world extended not just to Earth but to the stars. During a NASA event, a young black scientist named Dr. Amelia Grant, who had been a beneficiary of the Reach for the Stars program, shared her story. "I wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for Martha Lewis," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "She showed me that the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning. Because of her, I dared to dream, and now I'm part of a team building a sustainable future on Mars." The audience erupted in applause, but Amelia's words echoed far beyond that room. They became a rallying cry for the next generation of dreamers. Even as the world progressed, Martha's humble beginnings were never forgotten. Her old bench, where she had once sat as a homeless woman, was preserved as a historical landmark. Visitors from around the globe came to see it, leaving flowers, notes, and tokens of gratitude. One day, a little girl visiting the site with her parents asked, "Why is this bench so special?" Her mother knelt beside her and smiled. "Because it's where a star began to shine, my love. It's a reminder that no matter where you start, you can light up the world." Martha's impact wasn't just felt in the lives of individuals, it reshaped societal values. Policies addressing homelessness, racial inequality, and economic disparity were passed in her honor. Leaders cited her story in their speeches, using her life as a blueprint for compassion-driven governance. Years after her passing, a global summit on equality and innovation was held, aptly named the Martha Lewis World Forum. Delegates from every nation gathered to discuss solutions to the world's most pressing issues, inspired by her belief that every problem could be solved with kindness and determination. During the closing ceremony, Elon Musk, now in his twilight years, delivered a heartfelt speech. "Martha taught us something invaluable," he began, his voice steady yet emotional. "She taught us that greatness isn't about wealth or power. It's about lifting others, about seeing the unseen, and about daring to dream of a world where everyone matters. Her light will guide us forever." Martha's name became legend, but her spirit remained alive in the hearts of all who knew her story. Statues were erected in her honor, not as monuments to her achievements, but as symbols of hope. Each statue bore the inscription, "From Shadows to Stars, Martha Lewis." Her legacy became a testament to the idea that even the smallest act of kindness could ripple outward, changing lives in ways unimaginable. And though she had once been invisible to the world, Martha's light now shone brighter than ever, a beacon of hope for all humanity. Her story would forever remind us that the stars are not just in the sky, they are within us, waiting to illuminate the darkness with their brilliance. On a crisp, clear evening years after her passing, the world gathered once again to honor Martha Lewis. The event was held beneath a night sky filled with stars, a perfect tribute to the woman whose life had touched so many. It was the dedication ceremony for the Martha Space Habitat, a groundbreaking space station orbiting Earth, designed to serve as both a research hub and a cultural monument to human resilience and compassion. Elon Musk, now retired but still a revered figure in innovation, stood at the podium. Though age had softened his features, his voice remained steady and strong as he addressed the audience. "Tonight we look up to the stars as Martha once did, not with despair, but with hope," he began. "Her journey from a bench on the streets to the hearts of billions reminds us of something extraordinary, that every person, no matter how small their beginning, has the power to change the world." He paused, his gaze lifting toward the shimmering lights of the station visible above. Martha's life wasn't about reaching for the stars. It was about bringing them closer to all of us. She taught us to see each other, to lift one another, and to dream together. And tonight, her light shines brighter than ever, in the sky and in our hearts. The audience, filled with leaders, scientists, families, and everyday dreamers, stood in silence, gazing upward. Children clutched their parents' hands, inspired by the legacy of a woman they had only learned about through stories, yet felt deeply connected to. As the crowd dispersed, one little girl stayed behind, staring at the stars. She whispered, "Thank you, Martha," her words carried into the night by the soft wind. Martha's legacy didn't end with monuments, books, or even the space station named after her. It lived on in the acts of kindness performed every day in her honor, in the policies that brought dignity to those who had been forgotten, and in the hearts of people who dared to dream of a better world. For those who knew her story, she was more than an icon. She was a reminder that humanity's greatest strength lay in its ability to care for one another. And so, as the world turned and the stars shone on, Martha's light continued to guide it, proving that no matter where we start, we all have the potential to reach the stars and bring their brilliance back to Earth.